Tell me about what's life like.
It's pretty much common knowledge that it takes at least 20 shells to have a community. My cousin fell asleep in a pocket, and that's why I don't like the saying everything comes out of the wash. Because sometimes it doesn't, or sometimes it does, and they're just like a completely different person. So it's actually only 2 of us now. Myself and my grandmother, Nana Connie. We like to watch 60 Minutes because Leslie Stahl is fearless. Nana, make the noise.
Okay, I don't know about you, but I'm just going to say this right off the bat. I don't know about you, but if I saw like a little mini shell with an eye and shoes start talking, I would just leave. Because I would be like, this is not normal, and I would just get out of there. This movie, Marcel the Shell with Shoes On. Once I saw the trailer, I said, okay, this looks interesting. And I'm a big fan of a lot of A24 movies because these guys, they definitely pump out movies that not really a whole lot of studios would do. So they're not scared to take a chance. And some of the best films, especially in the past, the last 3 years now, have definitely been some of the best movies that I've seen, like from The Lighthouse to X and Pearl. And I really applaud them for trying different things. And they're not afraid to get different, and they're especially not afraid to get weird. This I thought was weird. But I was really intrigued with what they were doing. Because this one, it was like they were doing a fake. It was like fakementary, like a fake documentary about a little miniature shell who lives by himself with his grandmother. And I saw the trailer and I'm thinking, cool, this is live action. Oh, they're mixing stop motion with this. And as I'm watching the movie, I'm going, how do they do this? Because I would have been like, yeah, how are you guys doing this? Like, and especially like how smooth and fluid the stop motion is. I don't think there's any CGI in the movie. I really don't think there is. So the plot of this movie is this guy comes to this house, and they say it's an Airbnb. But he finds this shell named Marcel who lives with his grandmother, and also does like all these mundane things, like to go around the house, uses a little tennis ball to roll himself around. And I'm like, wow, this so far this is really good. And so this guy decides, I'm going to make a documentary about you, which then causes the attention of, newscasters and late night hosts to eventually 60 Minutes, and then there's a whole bunch of people that start arriving outside the house. And yeah, and then he starts becoming a big phenomenon. And I'm like, okay, this is super cool. I'm digging this. But throughout the movie, there were times where I'm going like, okay. And as much as I liked this movie, I wish I could have liked it more. It was mainly, I was going with it, and the movie's an hour and a half long, so it's not a chore to sit through. But with its pacing, it does feel a bit slow, so it feels a little bit longer than what it actually is. And mainly, towards the end of the movie, you find out, or so Marcel has a goal. Apparently, before this guy rented out this Airbnb, there was a couple that lived there and took care of a whole colony of these shells, or Marcel's family. And then the couple ended up fighting, and then eventually they both moved out of the house, and the whole colony was with I think it was the boyfriend and husband. They don't clarify anything, but they just say like, yeah, this couple was here, and every time when they fought, all the shells were like, okay, we need to get to the safe room. The safe room was a drawer, and the drawer was mixed in with all the man's clothes, and ended up getting taken along with him. And so he not only does this guy want to help Marcel create or get his name out there and make this documentary about him, but also to help find his family. And I really liked that. The problem was, for me at least, it's going in a certain direction, and then to me, I kind of lost sight of like, oh yeah, that's right, you were trying to find your family. Forgot about that. Because it's like, all right, you're trying to find your family. Okay, documentary. Instead of flipping back and forth and keeping you engaged with both, it felt more like, okay, we're going with the family. Okay, documentary, and then at the very end, it's like, oh yeah, I forgot. We need to find your family. Boom, here you go. I'm like, whoa, okay. I felt like you should have taken more time with that. Like, have this part go over here, have this part go over here, this part, interweave them all together, so that way it's like you're doing the documentary part, and then the family part brings in, it's like, oh, maybe, and then the documentary part back in, and then, yeah, and then the family thing, whether it be good or bad, spread it out. Because it really felt like, okay, we're sending out the family, now we're doing the documentary, and then an hour and 15 minutes is spent, focusing on the documentary, and also the impact that Marcel is bringing to everybody who's seeing him. And at the very end, it was like, oh shoot, we only have 15 minutes left of the movie. We need to do this. So it felt like boom. I'm like, oh, okay. And then credits started rolling. I'm like, oh, I guess that's it. Okay. So there were certain parts where I felt like they should have not, because the ending a little bit felt rushed. Where it was like, oh yeah, we have like 15 minutes left of the movie, and just do all this, do this, and then boom, we're done. And it's like, but you kind of dropped all of that in one go. I felt like you should have spread that out, or like cut it up in chunks and placed them in certain points through the course of the movie. And I think that would have been a little bit better. But overall, I still enjoyed this movie. It was an honorable mention on my best of list because of that last like 30 minutes where it was like, oh shoot, we gotta do this, and it felt very scatterbrained. But overall, I really enjoyed the live action blending with the stop motion. I think that worked quite well, and still a bit puzzled on how they did that. But the voice acting, I think it was Jenny Slate who voices Marcel, and I think she did a really good job. And also the incredible attention to how these shells lived and how they live. Like gathering fruit gardening to going around the house. It's like, wow, okay, this is just crazy. And I really enjoyed all that detail they did. I thought that was really well done. But I wish I could have liked this a lot more than I did. But I think this I was it was going great, and then at the end it kind of was like, okay, you're kind of tinkering on an average, but overall I'd still give this an average. I think I would rewatch this again, but I wish that the ending wasn't so like, oh shoot, we gotta hurry up kind of thing. I wish it was a bit spread out, but overall I thought this was a pretty enjoyable movie, and yes, there are some tearjerker moments, so be prepared for that.
He has got to go. Not that I don't like Arthur.
Not that.
No! Oh my God!
Arthur.
No!
Arthur.
Off!